Someone else? Ladies.
Translation.
No. Shabdarth.
Saha, that Lord Brahma, Vai, indeed, Yada, when, Mahadeva, the chief of all demigods, Mama, my, Virya Upbrimita, being increased by the potency. Mene, thought, Khilam, incapable, Iva, as if, Atmanam, himself, Udyata, attempting, Swarg Karmani, in the creation of the universal affairs. Atha, at that time, me, by me, Ubihita, advised, Deva, that Lord Brahma, Tapaha, austerity, Atapyata, performed, Darunam, extremely difficult, Nava, 9, Vishwasraja, important personalities to create the universe. Yushman, all of you. Yena, by whom. Adau, in the beginning. Asrajat, created. Vibhu, the great. Translation. When the chief lord of the universe, Lord Brahma, Swayambhu, having been inspired by my energy, was attempting to create, he thought himself incapable. Therefore, I gave him advice, and in accordance with my instructions, he underwent extremely difficult austerities. Because of these austerities, the great Lord Brahma was able to create 9 personalities, including you, to help him in the functions of creation. Purport: nothing is possible without tapasya. Lord Brahma, however, was empowered to create this entire universe because of his austerities. The more we engage in austerities, the more we become powerful by the grace of the Lord. Therefore, Rishabdev advised his sons, Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhyed. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified. In our material existence, we are impure, and therefore we cannot do anything wonderful. But if we purify our existence by tapasya, we can do wonderful things by the grace of the Lord. Therefore, tapasya is very important as stressed in this verse.
Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Shayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitamstam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lolita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vanchako Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Savai Yada Mahadevo Mama Viryo Pabrimitaha Nene Kilam Ivatmanam Ujjata Svarga Karmani Ata Me Bihito Devas Tapo Tapyata Darunam Nava Visvashajo Yushman Yenadav Asrajad Vibhu. When Lord Brahma undertook to create the universe, he considered himself incapable, and therefore these phone things were a distraction. Just keep your phone in your pocket if you'd be so kind. So he needed advice from the Lord, and the Lord advised him to perform tapasya. This is recounted in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. By performing tapasya, Lord Brahma became fit to take on the work of creation. And Prabhupada comments that the more one performs tapasya, the more one becomes powerful. The more we engage in austerities, the more we become powerful by the grace of the Lord. The corollary is that the more we avoid tapasya, the more we become soft and incapable. By austerity, one gets strength. And by seeking to avoid every discomfort, one becomes weak. So austerity is recommended, but not any austerity. Ashastra vihitam kodam tapyante ye tapo janaha tambhahankara samyukta kamaraga balanvita karshiyanta sirirastam abhutagrama machetasaha mam shaivanta shirirastam tan vidyasura nishchayan. In the 17th chapter, Krishna says that those who undergo invented austerities, whimsical austerities, self-invented austerities, or any austerities not recommended in Shastra, is demonic. We see people performing severe austerities, torturing themselves, putting hooks in their bodies and drawing carts and all sorts of austerities outside of the direction of Shastra. Torturing themselves, and Krishna says, Mam Jaivanta Sridasta, even torturing me. The Lord is affectionate to all living entities, Suridam Sarvabhutanam. So when he sees the living entities torturing themselves, he also feels pained at heart. So that kind of austerity should be avoided. There's austerity in ignorance, austerity in passion, austerity in goodness. So the austerity in goodness should be performed, and austerity in passion and ignorance should be avoided. Passion and the ignorant austerities, people don't know what they're doing, they just do anything. And out of foolishness and madness, in the mode of passion, they undertake great austerities for sense gratification. And in the mode of goodness, they act according to the direction of Shastra. We see that Hiranyakashipu also became powerful by austerity. But because his austerity was contrary to the Shastric directions and Shastric purposes, eventually it all came to nothing. He was destroyed. And what was the use then of so much austerity? The materialists or demons undergo austerity for nothing. Even apart from the classical austerities of outlined in Vedic literature, anyone who's undergoing some trouble to achieve something can be said to be undergoing austerities. The scientists who stay awake in their labs late at night trying to discover something, and the students who study and study and study, they're undergoing some voluntary inconvenience for some achievement. But what they achieve will be temporary and unsatisfying. And therefore, ultimately, they're working for nothing, or undergoing so much trouble and austerity for nothing. Even the Mayavadis, Aruya Krishna, they're undergoing so much austerity, padam padam to attain the supreme destination. But patantyadha, because they ignore the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, patantyadho nadrata yushmanangriya, they fall down again. That means it was all useless. So austerity should be performed for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Everything should be done for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Yajna, tapasya, dan, it should all be done for the satisfaction of Vishnu, not for any other purpose. Not for any other purpose. So in our Krishna consciousness movement, the devotees undergo some tapasya. Of course, in their daily sadhana, they rise early, which while others might choose to sleep, the devotees rise early to begin their devotional service. They perform some chanting of a prescribed number of rounds. They perform, yes, they undergo some trouble to carry out these duties. Of course, they don't consider it trouble. That little trouble becomes very pleasing, to rise early in the morning to chant Hare Krishna. Although in the beginning it may seem a little troublesome, becomes joyful. The devotees, if you say, no, today don't chant, today don't get up early. No, why should I not chant? Why should I not get up? Apart from that, the devotees go through accept great difficulties to carry out the wishes and instructions of the spiritual master. In our early days in the Hare Krishna movement in India, the devotees went through so much difficulty. Prabhupada brought a small group of Western devotees, mostly. This is feeding back, by the way. This speaker is distorting. I don't know if you can do something about that. Prabhupada brought a group of mostly American disciples, and they went through so much difficulty. At Hare Krishna land in Juhu, they were living in primitive circumstances, along with rats and so many things, and in a foreign climate. Similarly in Calcutta and in other places, they went through so much austerity to carry out the instructions and mission of the spiritual master. In Odisha, Gaur Govinda Maharaj was living in a little hut in the middle of a jungle, practically, to start our Bhubaneswar temple. And many other devotees in India and abroad have undergone great difficulties to practice and spread the Krishna consciousness movement in Africa, in Russia, in China, and so many places, undergoing great difficulties. But that difficulty all counts to their spiritual account, to their spiritual credit, and they become spiritually strong by undergoing some voluntary inconvenience. Similarly, today, devotees go out and accept so much inconvenience and go through so much trouble to distribute literature to enlighten the public in the principles of Krishna consciousness, or they perform so many other activities to carry forward the purposes of the Krishna consciousness movement. This is real austerity, or this is the austerity most appreciated. Sometimes devotees would take on some austerities for Chaturmasya. They would grow their beards or whatever. Prabhupada wasn't very impressed. But when devotees would undertake some trouble for spreading the Krishna consciousness movement, then Srila Prabhupada would be greatly pleased. Now, I suppose those children and the parents in charge of them think that because they're outside, they're not creating a disturbance. But that's not so. They're doing the lion and tiger thing, so better out in the forest or the garden at least. Well, let's stop there and see what kind of questions there might be. If any. We have till 9 or there. Oh, we can go home early, no questions today.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, in current ISKCON movement, we see many other vratas than regular Ekadashi, and so I wanted to know that what all austerities in terms of these fastings or extra vratas, apart from like distribution, like we taking austerities to do mission as one thing, in terms of austerities which we do to withdraw from eating and all. What was Srila Prabhupada's emphasis?
Yeah, Kadashi fasting is accepted. At least one should fast from grains and beans, or if one wishes, one can fast entirely, all food, even all water. But the real purpose is not fasting. Real purpose is to increase one's chanting and hearing and remembrance of Krishna. If all we do is starve, that's not so wonderful. The purpose is to remember Krishna. That's the purpose. So if we follow this principle of fasting on Ekadasi, good, we save time and purify our existence, and we can focus on hearing, chanting, reading. That's very good. But preaching is more important. The story is well known that in the time of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there was he was staying at the mutt, and he was informed that there was some program outside. They were, some people were asking if some pracharak could come and conduct the program. But he was informed that there was no one at the mutt. only one brahmachari or sannyasi was there, and he was following Ekadashi, fasting and all of that. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, feed him and send him out to preach. Feed him and send him out to preach. The preaching is more important than undergoing austerity. Something else? Yes, in the back, Piche.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, my question is in terms of preaching, as you suggested, that it is more important. So sometimes devotees say that we should preach to the topmost class of the society, the leaders, those who are in the high positions. And in that context, sometimes devotees say that if a devotee becomes a high class person, like in the outside society, that is one option, a devotee becoming a leader in the society. Let's say a politician or a big businessman or some government servant or like that. That is one side of the equation. The other side of the equation is to preach to an already successful person in the outside world. So, Maharaj, my question is, obviously both of these are ways, but if a person who is preached in the outside world, let's say he was a CEO of a company or he was an HR manager or something, then after the preaching has happened, how would he or she continue in the current job that he was doing, the role that he was playing? Let's say he was a PM or a leader in the business or whatever. So after this person has been preached, what would be his or her contribution in terms of personal sadhana and as in basically Nam Ruchi, Vaishnav Seva and Jeev there, while doing the responsibility he was having before he was preached, he or she was preached?
So I heard two questions there. The first concerns two different ways to reach the higher section of society. One is to preach to the members, and the other is to become Krishna conscious and become one of those people. Then the next question is, if by our preaching someone becomes, this is feeding back quite a lot actually, this speaker. If someone becomes Krishna conscious, then what is our advice? What should he do? So regarding the first matter, generally Srila Prabhupada encouraged that you just take whatever qualification you have and use it for Krishna. If you're a simple person, then whatever simple qualifications you have, use that for Krishna. If you're a graduate, use that for Krishna. If you're employed, use that for Krishna. You have some skill. If you're not educated, that's fine. You just take whatever you have and use whatever you have for Krishna. If you're a musician, make music for Krishna. If you're not a musician, still make music for Krishna, but not that you have to go for education. What is music? What is classical theory? All of these things. Whatever we already know, whatever we already have, use that for Krishna. To reach the high class of people, at first you have to become a big man. Then you have to go through so much trouble and risk to become a CEO or to become the Prime Minister or to become a whatever it is. And the whole thing is quite chancy. Everyone wants to be a big man, but not everyone becomes a big man. And we also place our Krishna consciousness at risk, that I become more focused on achieving a big position. And I forget that my real purpose is to achieve the biggest position, to be engaged in the service of Krishna. So the simpler way is to preach to those who are in a high position. Srila Prabhupada said, I'm not a scientist, but I have so many disciples who are scientists, PhDs and so on, Bhakti Vedanta Institute. If Prabhupada thought that first I have to become a scientist and then no. But when Krishna sent him some scientists, he engaged them in that work. So that's the course Prabhupada recommended. Now, as far as what they should do, first thing is they should do what everyone else does. Chant Hare Krishna, follow these 4 regulative principles, take up the process of Krishna consciousness, read these books, understand the philosophy, same as everyone else. Same as everyone else. Of course, it's not that it's stereotyped that you move into the brahmacharya ashram and you follow our, no, but from whatever your position is, you try to take up this, understand and take up these principles. Or Prabhupada gave a practical direction that when reaching people of a higher position, let them be engaged in what they like to do. Someone likes to give money, all right, give money. Someone likes to help manage, all right, you help manage. Someone likes to play music, all right, play music. Someone likes to study philosophy, or all right, you study whatever it is that you're already inclined toward, you do that for Krishna, so that he'll become enlivened. Yes, I can, whatever skill I have, talent, I can use that for Krishna. Then he becomes enlivened. Our life membership program is like that. So many life members may not be inclined to perform sadhana and follow all our rules and regulations, but they may have a charitable mentality. All right, this is nice. You be charitable and engage your wealth in Krishna's service. And then we'll look for other ways also. We'll reciprocate, we'll give you books, and we'll look for opportunities by which you can engage your skills and talents in Krishna's service. Purpose is not just to collect money, but to collect people, to engage people, conditioned souls, in the service of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada told one big man, he said, I don't want your money, I want you. So then as people, whether they're students or they're people with careers, when they're engaged in some way that they feel enthusiastic about, then naturally they come forward to take up the other parts of Krishna consciousness, to the chanting, the regulative principles, and so on. If we try to force them, that may not be very helpful. But if we engage these people nicely, then what else can I do? What else can I do? Then we can instruct them. Yes.
Maharaj, as you said that Srila Prabhupada said, our purpose is to collect people, not money. Collect people, not money. As you must be aware that recently ISKCON has published in Braille language for the blind, Bhagavad Gita, published in English.
Yes.
Now, look like ISKCON come to the face that it can take the Bhagavad Gita to the people who need it, and also to the people who doesn't know that is available but still existing in the form of Bhagavad Gita in various ways.
And the first thing is we can take Bhagavad Gita to the people who need it. That's everyone. Everyone is blind. But then your next point?
My question to you is, Maharaj, the Braille language is a very difficult language.
Which language is difficult?
Blind people.
Braille is difficult, all right.
We have Bhagavad Gita in English, published in
In Braille.
yes.
Okay.
It is released during
So
Brahmotsav time in.
So what is your point?
I wish this publication to be done in various languages, like Braille language done in
So,
English for Telugu.
why are you telling me that? Why are you telling me that?
There's a gap existing.
Yeah, well, I understand, but why are you bringing that up to me now? You have a desire that the books be published in these languages. Why are you telling me now?
You have been in BBT and you served in BBT.
I don't work there anymore. I retired several years ago. So if you have some suggestions for the BBT, you can speak to Ananda Tirtha, Bhima Prabhu.
No, we have spoken to
So,
Bhima Prabhu and we are
that's
just
it.
hope
And-
it comes
and-
in more languages.
Stop.
It comes in more
Stop,
languages.
please. You can speak to them, not me. I don't work there anymore.
I'm just telling it's opportunities.
I got it.
Opportunities are opening.
Thank you, and thank you for your suggestion, and now you know where to put where the suggestion box is. Thank you. I only started your question actually because you asked what would these people do? So the first thing is do the same things, chanting, hearing, and so on. The next thing, Prabhupada, what is that verse? Uttama shloka gunanuvananam. That whatever, yes?
That tapasashrutasya vasvishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayo avichito vartaka vivirdirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Idam hi pumsa.
Whatever skill you have, whatever capability you have, use that for glorifying Krishna. If you're a scientist, then glorify Krishna in scientific language. If you're a musician, then you use your musical talent for Krishna. If you're a professor, an academic, whatever your skill may be, artist, use that for glorifying Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That would be our advice.
Maharaj,
Yes.
Maharaj, recently we started some 6 months ago a team of devotees as IVSS we call it, ISKCON Vanaprastha Sevak Sangha. So we have about 85 devotees in that list. And the very first meeting we played your lecture which you had given in Bombay Sri Radha Gopinath Temple. Everybody loved it. So I wanted to check one thing with you. Most of the members who have become registered in our group of Vanaprastha Sangha, they are like 70 plus.
They're what?
70.
70.
Yeah. They are like 65 to 80, mostly 70 to 80. So actually when I had begun it, I had intended to get the category of between 50 to 60 also. Between 50 to 60 also.
Yeah, a lot of people taking up Vanaprastha at 70 are already late in the game.
So in that connection, I wanted to check with you little more. We wanted to get awareness about the Vanaprastha starting because you have very beautifully spoken in that lecture where you very much stress the importance of moving from Grihastha to Vanaprastha. So here in our community, many devotees are becoming 45, 50 now. So it will be very valuable if you give us some tips, pointers on that.
Vanaprastha ashram, big topic, the unknown ashram in ISKCON. I've given a seminar about this. It's online. Perhaps you might find it on, I think I have a YouTube channel. Otherwise, if you look for my name in Vanaprastha, I think you'll find it. It was given in America, but it should be relevant anywhere. I'm also putting that into a book, The Vanaprastha Adventure, which will lay out the same principles from Srila Prabhupada's teachings. Included in that book also will be a Vanaprastha checklist just a straight list of things you can do as in the process of accepting the Vanaprastha ashram. And I've arranged it in such a way as, all right, just choose. I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. Otherwise, we wait to do everything, and then we wait till we're 80, and then it's all over. So the idea is cultivation. Begin accepting these things, one after another. There's also a pre-Vanaprastha checklist for those who are in the Grihastha ashram, but are seeing that in the future, not so far away, is Vanaprastha life. Without this Varnashram system, Varnashram means 4 Varnas, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and 4 ashrams, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. Without this Varnashram system, it's very difficult to make, from one point of view, with Varnashram system we get the beginning of human life. Without Varnashram, it's more or less disorganized animal life. Varnashrama charvata purushena parapuman Vishnu aradyate panta nanyata toshakaranam. This Varnashram system is required if we want to satisfy the personality of Godhead. Now, among the ashramas, Brahmachari ashram, Grihastha ashram, actually the Brahmachari training is the beginning of spiritual culture. For those who've been trained as brahmacharis, Grihastha life becomes more reasonable. Without proper training as a brahmachari, what kind of Grihastha will we be? The brahmachari learns how to control his mind, how to control his senses, how to engage in the devotional service of the Lord, how to be on the transcendental platform. Without this brahmachari training, brahmachari is supposed to be the spiritual master of the, husband is supposed to be the spiritual master of the wife. Without training, what kind of spiritual master will he be? So the brahmachari training is very important. Someone thinks, oh, no, everyone's going to get married anyway, so why should my son become... No, he should become a brahmachari so that he'll... either way, he can either remain brahmachari, save himself so much entanglement, or he can get married, but he'll be a self-controlled, spiritually situated grihastha, rather than grihamedhi, a person who's involved in householder life, but adantagopi, doesn't know how to control his mind and senses. So either way, brahmachari training is the beginning. Then next stage, grihastha life. Grihastha life is not required. Those who are happy as brahmacharis can remain happy brahmacharis for their whole life and save themselves so much expense, trouble, and entanglement, and so on. But if one feels that brahmachari life is too inconvenient, then one can accept the grihastha ashram. Grihastha ashram is only supposed to last for 25 years. And the grihastha ashram, of course, in the brahmachari ashram, vanaprastha ashram, sannyas ashram, there's no sex. No sex. Only in the grihastha ashram is there sex. But the Bhagavatam says, prajaya naratya. The sex in the grihastha ashram is not for sense gratification. It's for service. It's for getting children, Krishna conscious. Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarsha. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that I'm sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. What does it mean? Dharma virut, not contrary to religious principles. That's explained by Srila Sridhar Swami. He says that dharma viruddha means sex with one's wife at the prescribed time for the purpose, matra. Matra means only, for the purpose of having children. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, commenting on the same verse, says the same thing. Sex with one's wife at the prescribed time. Prabhupada explains that means once a month. And prajaya, for the sake of getting children. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, commenting on the same verse, says the same thing. And Srila Prabhupada says the same thing. So it's not that householder life means a free ticket to unlimited sense gratification or sex on demand. That's material life. Spiritual life means that everything is done for the satisfaction of Krishna. Everything is done for the satisfaction of Krishna. So in Grihastha life, sex life is accepted for the sake of begetting good children, Krishna conscious. Prajaya naratya, not for sense gratification. So that Grihastha life is meant to last, say, 25 years. If we live 100 years, then 25 years brahmacharya life, 25 years Grihastha, 25 years vanaprastha, 25 years sannyas. We hope we all live 100 years. But given that we don't expect it to live more than 100, and more likely less, we should get on with it. We shouldn't dawdle or tarry, hang on in householder life longer than required or longer than ordained. When should one accept vanaprastha life? Manu says, when one sees that one's skin is becoming wrinkled, one's hair is becoming gray, one sees the children of one's children out. And Srila Prabhupada simplifies, Panchashordham vanam brajate. At the age of 50, one brajate, this is Vidhiling imperative mood, one must leave family life for the vanaprastha ashram. That means one is advised to have children early. Our modern Indian sociology has gone mad. They have invented the idea that the best way to live your life is to study. Both boys and girls should focus on their studies, and then they should get started in their career, and then in their 30s, perhaps, they should get married. No. You're pushing everything to the late side. Then your children, when you're 50, will not be mature. You start having children when you're 35, 40. So when you're 60, your son is 20. No. And especially for the girls, this is totally backwards for sociological and even medical reasons. We won't go into detail, we don't have the time. But it's backwards. It's not that the sages didn't know what they were doing, or the Shastras didn't know what they were prescribing. It's that the modern society is confused, not the rishis. So 25 years. So one should plan one's life in such a way that I know that now I'm getting married. Of course, you don't have to have all these thoughts in your mind on your wedding day. But one should know that I'm entering into the Grihastha ashram for only some time. And then I have to get out of the Grihastha ashram. One shouldn't enter the Grihastha ashram the way that Abhimanyu entered the Chakravyuha. One should have an exit plan. In the Vanaprastha ashram, the headline item, of course, is no sex. In brahmachari, in 3 of the ashrams, no sex. Brahmacharis, no sex. Sannyasis, no sex. Vanaprasthas, no sex. Otherwise, one is not a Vanaprastha. It's not, even if he goes to the forest, he's not a Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means no sex. Apart from that, it means now to retire from materialistic activities, because my life is going to come to an end. My life is going to come to an end. And what will be the upshot of my life? What will be the result? What will be the conclusion, the profit, the achievement of my life? If I remain attached to home, family, business, and so on, then how will I get free from material existence? How will I get free from material existence? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vairagya Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yoga. He came to teach Bhakti Yoga along with Vairagya, detachment, and Vidya, transcendental knowledge. So from one point of view, this is a path of required austerity. From another point of view, this is the path of freedom. Grihasthas always say to me, Maharaj, I have no time. I can't chant, I can't read, there's no time, I'm so busy, this, that. So this is the opportunity. Pack it in. Close up shop. Then the time is yours, and you can use it for the real business, spiritual cultivation. Ashram means spiritual cultivation. Human life means spiritual cultivation. Anukul yasya sankalpa, one should accept what's favorable. So family life may be favorable in youth, but it's not favorable in old age. Then it becomes pratikul, unfavorable. So the householder should look toward, and anyway, householder life is not very happy in old age. In youth, everything looks good. You look good, she looks good, prospects look good. There's some excitement, some challenge. When we get older, it's just a burden. So, so now one gets free. There are different systems of Vanaprastha life. One can go to a holy place like Vrindavan or Mayapur and live there, either husband and wife together, or wife can stay at home with the grown children, husband can stay there. All of the methods of Vanaprastha life can be with or without your wife. That's mentioned in Bhagavatam and Manu Samhita both. So one may go to a place like Vrindavan and live there, or one may visit different holy places. travel. Vidura was going to different places. Even our ISKCON Padayatras still. I traveled with them in 1986. Still they're traveling all over India. And those who travel with the Padayatra can visit every holy place. We had in 1985, when I was there, some Gujarati people joined our Padayatra in Dwarka. And they, they're ordinary people, business people, but they were elderly. They joined the Padayatra. They saw all of India. All of, Sri Rangam and Kanyakumari and Mayapur, and probably they'd never gone out of their home state. And now they saw all these places where Krishna is presiding, and so much time chanting Hare Krishna, and many of them became initiated devotees also. So that's another system of vanaprastha life. One can travel to holy places. Or another system, Srila Prabhupada did this. You can travel out for preaching or to some tirthasthan, and then come back and see how things are going on. All right, everything is working, a few things are not working, we make adjustments, we consult and hobnob. We go out again. And then we come back, and then we go out and come back and go out. That's another system. And Prabhupada said, one day you just don't come back. So these are some of the principles of vanaprastha life. To go into depth would take, a seminar of several days, but that's perhaps a brief outline. If we don't accept the vanaprastha ashram, then basically we rot in family life. In the first canto, Prabhupada said that to stick to family life till one's last days is the grossest form of degradation. It's the grossest form, just remaining attached to some small family. Like Dhritarashtra is the grossest form of degradation. So, therefore I've titled that book Vanaprastha Adventure. It's an adventure. And the result of the adventure will be wonderful. Maybe there'll be some difficulties. There'll be difficulties at home also. But one will see new opportunities opening up for spiritual enlivenment. Essentially, the brahmachari, if we were brahmacharis, you get back your brahmachari life again. You were a happy brahmachari, and then you got involved in taxes and income expenditure and education of children and saris and bangles and all of these things. And now you get free. Again, preaching, chanting, hearing, sadhu sangha, full time. Not, I hope I can come on Sunday for a couple of hours. Full time. Spiritual activities. So it's practical also. It's not just a dream, theoretical. Maybe I'll share with Radheshyam Prabhu my checklist, and you can see if it's useful. Everyone can start ticking off the boxes.
Maharaj, very valuable pointers you spoke today. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Maharaj.
I had one question. You told the two methods of vanaprastha. You said going in Padayatra, and another one going off and coming and going off and coming. One of the third one, I have been thinking, I wanted to check whether my understanding is correct. We have told our vanaprastha team that wherever you are in Pune city far away, come close to the temple. take a rented house, just touching the temple very close, and then daily morning you come, take part in all the programs, do some service in the day, attend a class, and night you can go back to home. And if you spend your life like this, that's vanaprastha. Is that the correct understanding?
They can shift their home near the temple?
Near the temple, yeah.
Yeah, that's also. In New Jersey, we have one friend, he's a disciple of Srila Bhakti Maharaj, who's now quite elderly, Gujarati devotee. And he was a professor. And he thought that when I retire, I'd like to live in the temple. So he was looking forward to that. And when his sons grew up, as soon as they were a little grown, that's what he did. He moved into the local temple and full-time seva. And his wife also. And still they're doing that seva. So that's entirely possible. That the Vrindavan is a holy place, Mayapur is a holy place. Where the Lord's temple is located, that's a holy place. That's a holy place. It's not that we have to, we have to walk 1,000 kilometers or get in an airplane, otherwise it's not a holy place. Where the Lord is there, the devotees are there, service is there, that's also a holy place. And with the same idea, cultivating detachment, cultivating, engaging oneself fully. Not just that I remain the same kind of, I move next to the temple and I call the technician and I reinstate my cable connection. And Star TV and all of that. Then what's the use? Even though you're living next to the temple, you're still living in hell. So the idea is to, if you're moving next to the temple, it's so that our attention will be focused on Krishna and the service of Krishna. My problem is that my service has been directed toward my family, toward my company, toward my career, toward my this, toward my that. So now the time has come, let me refocus on the service of Krishna. So with that in mind, if we live next to the temple, then it's very good. Or even those who are traveling, not that you can only go to the Himalayas and Sri Ranga, but there were so many ISKCON temples you can try and do service also. Let me volunteer and do some service. So all of these things can be elaborated. But yes, good conception. What are your instructions to me?
One last question, anybody? There's one hand up.
Hare Krishna Maharaj ji, as you told that oneself engage ourselves, we should have to engage ourselves.
A little slower, a little louder. If you keep the microphone close to you and speak loudly and a little slowly, then I'll get it.
We should have to engage ourselves in the service of Krishna, as you told that. But how we should engage ourselves in Krishna's service while working, like go to
How
office?
should I engage myself in Krishna's service while
Working.
working?
Like in office.
That's another seminar. That's another seminar. The short answer is that everyone chant Hare Krishna, follow the regulative principles, and be engaged in the service of the deity, Krishna. Amanmana bhavamad bhakta. That's also good. For those who are in family life at the appropriate time, And all these activities are there so that their family life will be Krishna conscious. And again, that can be elaborated, but not right now. Okay? So they can come back here same place. They were supposed to be some brahmacharya class. At 11. Yeah. Same work for me.
That's not that good, Maharaj. You'll call them to temple hall only then.
Okay.
One good news for all devotees. Actually, today is Gudi Padwa day, first day of the year in Maharashtrian calendar, and a very auspicious day. So many devotees have come, and devotees have been asking me. Today is a holiday for many also, whether Maharaj can give one more lecture. So I requested Maharaj. 11 o'clock we had a brahmachari class, but we are going to convert it into a common class for everybody. And we'll hold it in the temple hall only. Right here it will be 11 o'clock. 11 to 12:30 we had fixed a program. So you all are welcome to come back again. Is it all right? And now it's 9:30 now, close to 9:30. I want to thank Maharaj for such a beautiful talk with such clarity on what is divine austerity and what is mundane austerity. And even in the divine austerity, we have to be careful not become Bhajananandis, growing beard and doing chaturmas, but we should preach. So nicely Maharaj presents everything with such clarity. And also, we are all eagerly looking for the book Vanaprastha Adventure, which he is going to bring out very soon. So, I had heard this lecture which he gave many years ago, and very, very valuable pointers for us. And Maharaj, in our community here, many husband wives are engaged all the time in service. Many of them are actually coming and doing cooking for the deities and making garlands and making jewelry, making dresses and doing book distribution, fundraising. They are very actively involved, and many are now crossing the age of 40, 45. Their children are also growing up now. So your directions are very valuable. You told various ways in which they can increase. And I am especially very keen to see the checklist, which you said checklist. Because it was a very thrilling point for me. They don't have to wait to do all of it all at once.
Yeah.
They can begin with something and then gradually increase it over a period of time as per their comfort level. It was very nice, Maharaj. And you present Prabhupada's teachings in a very uncompromising and pure manner. We are very grateful to you. Let us thank Maharaj with one loud Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Krishna Krishna! Hare Hare! Hare Ram! Hare Ram! Ram Ram! Hare Hare! Is one Jaiadvaita Swami Maharaj ki? Srila Prabhupada ki? So, 11 o'clock in the same place, you all are welcome back again. Okay?
We brought some books also. We brought some books also. This is a book, the only book I've written and published so far. It's a commentary on a philosophical book from the Bible, from the point of view of Krishna consciousness. It's not generally available in India, but we brought some copies, and those who are interested can see us and take a copy. In America, they're $15.95, which is like 1,200 rupees, but Hare Krishna, whatever you'd like to give.
हरे कृष्णा जिनको भी ये महाराज का किताब आज प्राप्त करना है
No, if you have to explain it in Hindi, they're not the reader. If you're not comfortable with English, then this book is not for you.
Maharaj, many devotees want to take autograph after they buy the book. Is it all right? They can take autograph from you?
Yeah. But if you only want an autograph, then just give me a piece of paper and I'll sign it.
No. They'll take a book and they'll come with the book.
Yeah.
The books are available here. Anybody wishes to take, please come and take. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.